Welcome to the Grandstand Golf Podcast. I am Kevin Bapty, and I'm joined as always by my brothers Adam.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And Craig.
Pleasure to be here, guys.
So for the first time this year, one of our boys took down a tournament. Adam, why don't you tell us how it happened?
Yeah, so we had the ZOZO Championship this weekend. It looked like a heavyweight championship bout coming into Sunday with number 2 in the world, Jon Rahm, trailing number 3 in the world, Justin Thomas, by just one stroke. After 9, they were tied at 19 under, and it looked like a classic showdown, like a clash of the titans. Then my boy, Patrick Cantlay, came into the tape with only a 5% chance to win via data golf. Carded 9 birdies on Sunday, and ended up beating them both by 1. So Kevin, 2 weeks ago, you were pretty vocal about Cantlay not getting it done on Sunday at the Shriners. What do you think of Cantlay's performance today?
Well, this is what I was looking for at the Shriners. I mean,
okay,
what's there? This is what a guy like this is supposed to do. He came in on Sunday a little bit behind those other two guys, and he played an amazing round of golf. And that's the kind of player I think he is. And I think that maybe me challenging him after that result at the Shriners is what gave him the motivation to get it done today. I'm thrilled for him. He played great. This is what I was expecting when I chose him for my one and done that week, and I know that's why he's one of your boys, is because you know he has this potential.
So you think he's a loyal listener to the pod, and he's like, you just feel this fire. He's like, man, that Kevin, I gotta prove that Kevin wrong.
He's got that up on the bulletin board.
Oh, I was trying to give him some bulletin board material, and I know it helped him, and I couldn't be happier for the guy. I mean, I'm happy for you, Adam. One of your boys is making strides. Did this get him in the top 10 in the world? I think it did.
I think he's 9th now. And I mean, we only did our boys like a month ago. I think that's pretty good for all of us. Our success has been pretty early and fast here.
Yeah. So
I mean, and not just wins too. Like all of our boys have found success, I think, early in this season.
I had a little bit of a hard time getting ready for this podcast, trying to define exactly what it was about today that made his round, the winning round. And I don't know if you guys can describe it better, but just quickly in one word, how do you describe Cantlay's golf game?
Craig, why don't you start?
So the best I could come up with is methodical.
Oh, okay.
Because to me, like when you watch him play, he's so, whether it's making the read with his caddy, coming up with how they're going to approach a putt or anything, it just looks like whether it's pre-shot or just the tempo of his swing, it's just everything is very textbook, very proper, very picture perfect. And then as Adam says, he'll sit there and get settled in for a little while before he pulls the trigger and makes his putt. So to me, methodical is how I describe it.
So I'm going to jump in here, Adam, because that really plays right up to mine that I thought of, which is deliberate.
Oh, okay.
So I think his game is very deliberate. He doesn't pull the trigger until he's ready to go. He knows exactly what he wants to do, and he makes sure he's comfortable with it before he pulls the trigger. And the results spoke for themselves today.
So I'm going to go, it's kind of the same, but I'm going patient. My one word to describe him is patient. Mm-hmm. And it's overarching. It's not just today. It's not just his game. He's had to be patient with his careers, patient with his injuries. I mean, he's taken years off when he's probably in the prime. I mean, obviously not his prime physical condition because he's injured, but the prime of like a typical golfer's life. So I think patient, like you guys said. He can stand over a ball for a while. He's very deliberate, methodical when he approaches the game. But it's by no means boring, I don't think. He's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think there's a few
that
things
can be debated a little bit, but
and I also think he gets a bad rap for being a slow player, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I think he kept pace. I think he keeps pace fine. I think he's actually a hole ahead of JT and Rahm in their group.
Yeah, well, a lot of these guys can be super slow players, and I think that's a discussion for a whole nother day because I don't want to go on another rant at the top of the podcast. But the thing that he said in one of his post-round interviews that I really liked, because to me it really is what, with so many of these top golfers, he said he's been playing good, and it was just a matter of putting the 4 rounds together. Like he said, he felt he's been playing good, but it's just like there'd be one round each week that like would just sewer his chances of winning. And I feel like that's the case we'll get into other guys later on, but it just seems to be the case that it's really hard to do it throughout the whole 4-day week of a tournament.
The other thing he said in a post-round interview, at least I saw, that he said he took down the ZOZO, which Tiger was defending, and he plans to take down another tournament that Tiger is defending here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot left to Tiger's defending. So
yeah, exactly.
I like that.
We all know what that one is.
Yeah. No, I thought his game today, he's one of those guys, you see him at the around the top of the leaderboard and you kind of expect it. It's not like it's a surprise to see him up there. Yeah. But today he just kept creeping up and up and up. And I think it was holes, 11 to 15, I think he birdied 4 of those 5 holes, and it just kind of shot him. All of a sudden he just shot in front of JT and Rahm. And that was it. He pulled far enough ahead that they couldn't catch him, and he kind of did it sneaky quiet. But
I had 14 and 15 down as the real, like, when it felt like he sort of took control, and it was sort of a 2-man race, and he was lingering in the background, and then that's where he was like, no, I'm a player here. And 14 was a par 4 that wasn't very low scoring, and he made a long putt that just last couple revolutions fell into the hole, which was great. And then 15 was, it's going to be the shot that's really remembered from this tournament. That's that tough little par 3 with the creek in front of it.
Right.
And he almost holed out, and then
it was
a downhill putt, apparently. Shockingly close to a hole-in-one. Yeah. And then apparently it's a really tough downhill putt too. And then he made that putt, and then it just felt like at that point he was right there with them, and then they didn't get it done.
I think the other thing to note with his tournament as well is, yes, there's really easy scoring out there, and the scores are generally pretty low, but he went 61 holes without a bogey.
That's incredible.
3 rounds of golf plus his first 7. He didn't get a bogey until a par 3 8th on Sunday.
Which was a hole that was playing brutally tough today.
Yeah.
Really tough. I was, as I told you guys before, was doing the hole by hole betting, and after a while I realized going over par on 8 was a pretty good bet.
That's how you're getting your money.
That's where I was making my money today. I was losing it in enough other places, so
yeah.
That was one money maker anyways. So let's talk about Justin Thomas and Jon Rahm a little bit. What happened to those guys? Those guys are both guys I love watching. They're passionate, they're competitive. Even when we got to 18 today, I said, don't count either of these guys out. I wouldn't be surprised if JT hold it. I won't be surprised if Rahm makes a birdie, you know. But what happened to them today?
Well, they choked.
Well, JT first. I think we brought this up a few times. When JT's, he's such a balanced player. He's so solid across the board. But I feel like the one thing when he is kind of shooting himself in the foot is he can't find the fairway with his driver.
Yeah.
So I think it was 13, a par 5. And the classic JT points straight to the right. Like, he overcut it. And then he couldn't get out of the rough from there. And then it just kind of snowballed. And then, not necessarily with the driver, but then he kind of embedded that one on the par 3 as well. But I think
13 too. I think he got a bit of a break, because that was the one where he was in the rough, and then it looked like he hit into a gully, and it kind of skipped up out of it, and then he airmailed that over the green.
It's kind of amazing when you look at his back nine that he finished one shot back only.
Yeah.
Well, because then there was 16, which he made an absolute mess of. The par 5, he was in absolutely prime position off the tee with an iron in his hand into that par 5 and just totally blocked one to the right. A terrible swing in that moment. He knew it, but that was his tournament.
Some would even say it's ugly.
It was ugly.
Foreshadowing.
You know what, Craig? Why don't we just get into that right now? The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Since you're walking all over.
I'm walking all over.
So good, bad, and the ugly this week. I'm looking purely at the 16th hole. This course is known for these par 5s, and this is 16th hole, third from the finish. It's pivotal. You always have very volatile scoring on par 5s. So first off, we have, this isn't the order they happened in, because Cantlay was a group or two ahead of the other guys, but we had Rahm take an iron off the tee there, which was a little bit questionable. and laid way back, and then he hit a 3-wood. He went iron 3-wood, and there's that trouble. There's that trouble in front, and I don't know if you guys saw that, but it cleared it by like 3 feet, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It looked like a foot.
Yeah. And so, but anyways, made a really nice shot from there. Got in with a birdie when he needed a birdie to stay close, give himself a chance. So that's the good. Even though I questioned it off the tee.
And the announcers did too. They were all over him.
They were very unhappy with that. The bad, Patrick Cantlay, he was, I forget where he was in the fairway, but he decided to laid up to about 115 yards to give himself a nice distance in. And he hit, there was that tree over on the left that really protected the green, usually for people that were trying to come in on 2.
Right.
But he was coming in, with a little wedge, and he hit that, fell into the bad rough, and then I don't think it was that bad of a shot. I think he just was in such a bad spot that he put himself to maybe 10, 12 feet, something like that, and missed his putt to try to save par. Ended up making a bogey there, which potentially could have cost him the tournament, but unfortunately it didn't.
Yeah, I was kind of, when that happened, I was kind of waiting for Kevin to be like, "Oh, Cantlay can't close again." I was like, don't even say it.
Listen, if he wasn't able to close, I would be saying that right now. That was a terrible shot he hit for his 3rd shot with a wedge in his hand, but he had built himself a big enough lead. He got away with it. So
yeah.
And then last, the ugly, Justin Thomas. So position A, 310 yards off the tee to as close as you can get to the edge of that first part of the fairway. He had 245 to the hole, iron in his hand, and he just sprayed it like 30 or 40 yards right of where it needed to be. Hit a tree. I don't know if it hit a tree, but it hit the bank.
I think it hit a tree and then
fell
down
into the creek.
Yeah.
And then he actually hit a pretty he did pretty good work to get up and down from there.
That was an amazing up and down from there. Great
little suit, like it was hard pan dirt that he was hitting off. Hit a nice little run up wedge and then made the putt to save par. But unfortunately for him, like at that point, par was not really what he needed. He needed it put him into a position where he had to birdie the 17, which was a tough par 3. I mean, not super tough, but it was doable. Still, but like really, 16 was the birdie hole for him, and he just missed his chance there.
He had to go birdie after that to even have a chance, and he almost did it.
He made the birdie on 18, so it was really 16 there where.
He hit a great putt on 17 too that just burned the lip. But again, you're right. 16 is what cost him a chance to win the tournament.
Yeah,
I think his approach on 16, the mics picked it up. He said something like, "Get more lucky than you've ever got in your life." Like he sprayed it, and he's like, "Come on, get something here."
Yeah, so we're the announcers were hyping Rahm and JT as the future Tiger and Phil.
Well, and before we move on from Rahm and JT, I feel like we can't move on from Rahm unless we talk about the fact that he shanked a ball on Thursday.
On Thursday.
Just a pure hosel job.
That was pretty good. It got me down that wormhole where I started looking at old shanks of players.
Yeah.
Of
He's
PGA
got a
Tour
few.
Players. I think I don't know if you've seen that Hunter Mahan one in the match play championships. It's an all-timer.
I don't remember that.
It's a real good one.
But anyways, the difference between him shanking it and everyone else is that he shanks it, makes a great little bogey save, and then almost wins the frickin' tournament afterwards.
Yeah, this is the one shot he maybe wanted back was the one that he could argue cost him the tournament in the end. But anyways, the Rahm JT comparison to Tiger Phil, does that mean Cantlay winning is maybe like a Furyk sneaking up and taking one from those guys, or?
No, I don't really think that Tiger Phil has any place for that comparison. It's so different now. All these guys, they're so good. The group of golfers we have, I think it's a clear, like I've talked about on the podcast before, it's a clear 4 at the top of the game, and then I think it's people trying to break into there.
I also think Tiger versus Phil was never anything. Like they said today that they'd only played together 38 times during their career, which may sound like a lot, But
I was surprised by that, actually.
But
that
it's only
it was only
twice
38
a year. Like, that's not very much considering how many rounds a year these guys are playing.
Sorry, was that on Sunday or just in total?
No,
they
ever.
Played? That's bizarre.
I think the thing is that those two were they were 1-2 in the world for quite a long time. And so that's why everybody wanted more of a rivalry there than they actually got. Yeah. But anyways, we're kind of jumping all over the place here. Adam, let's get you your 3 stars for this week.
Yeah, so my 3rd star is your boy, Kevin, Tony Finau.
Tony
Finau. So he had a COVID-19 diagnosis, and I mean, we've seen a few that DJ is currently out. Scotty Scheffler has been back for about a month from his diagnosis, but I mean, we don't, unless they kind of offer up information, we're not really knowing what's going on with these guys, right? We don't know if they're asymptomatic or what, but Finau said at some point during the weekend that it hit him hard and he was fatigued, and he still doesn't have a sense of taste, I think, or maybe taste and smell. So when he got this, it was serious for him.
Well, and I think that's the first golfer we've heard about that was actually talking about the symptoms and talking about, that it was not just I have to stay home and be quarantined. It was like, I got sick.
Yeah. And so, I mean, he's coming to his first tournament back. I think he was a fade.
I faded him.
Yeah, and I think that,
but I didn't want to.
And I faded him in DFS as well. But he comes back. He plays 4 rounds under 70. He was tied for 11th in the end. He was positive in every stroking category across the board. I just think, I mean, we've seen these guys come back from asymptomatic diagnosis and be kind of flat. I'm just really impressed with how he came back, and it clearly affected him, and he came back as good as he's been kind of leading in.
Yeah. Totally agree. Very impressed. If it wasn't for that ugly triple too, he would have been right in contention in this tournament.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know I was texting you right when he went birdie eagle there on Saturday. I was pretty pumped. I'd just taken him at, I think, 20-1 at that point, and he got himself in a tie for the lead and proceeded to triple the next hole. So, the memes started flying after that, I think.
You were going to see if you could sell at those same odds still? Or?
Anyway, it's nice to see my boy get back into form before the Masters, but a little bit disappointing to see where he ended up finishing, given that he, I think he finished at minus 15.
He was 17.
Like that. Was he 17? 17 is where he got to essentially at the turn on Saturday. So a little disappointing he couldn't take it deeper than that, because he was right there with those guys. But, a triple will do that to you too. So good to see him back.
Yeah, for sure. My 2nd star, I'm changing things up here because I invented this and I can do whatever I want, but my 2nd stars are Justin Thomas and Jon Rahm. They tie for 2nd, the two of them. We know who they are. There's nothing really new I can say about JT or Rahm that you don't already know.
Were they who we thought they were?
They were exactly who we thought they were. So that's why I kind of feel like it's such an easy gimme kind of one. That's why they're only getting half a star. They're each getting their tie for 2nd. They're getting their 2nd star. They can split it just like they split tie for 2nd here in the tournament.
So, and honestly, I low-key joke that they choked, but it was a back 9 that played under par. Both of them were 36 in the back. Either of them shoot 1 under on the back 9, and they're in a playoff. So there's a reason they're not the first star.
And look at JT's back 9. He was all over the place on that back 9. So, it was either of their tournament to take, and they didn't. So I guess that's why they have to be relegated to the 2nd star.
I do like those two guys. I do love how competitive they are, and even when Justin Thomas didn't hold his approach shot on 18, he was on himself for not doing that.
That is so bad.
You're 3 feet away. That's a great shot. There's my 2nd star. My 1st star is my boy Patrick Cantlay. I went in depth on our My Boy episode. You can download that about Patrick Cantlay, his backstory, all that. It's a really interesting kind of story he has. But another stat I pulled up, just because he's like JT, like Xander, I feel like he's a very balanced player. So positive in stroke gain again, but so we have 4 main stroke gains. We have off the tee, approach, around the green, and putting, right? 4 kind of big ones there. Since 2017, for a full season, he's only been negative in a strokes gained stat once. So of 20 opportunities, he was negative in putting by negative 0.18. So for 5 years...
And that's not uncommon because putting can be such a volatile stat.
Exactly. So it's just he's so well-rounded, and that's why he's my boy, and I think he also cracked into the official World Golf Ranking for... I don't know if it's the first time ever, but...
The top 10, you mean?
I think he's been in the top 10. I think he's been there before.
I think he has. I think you're right. But nice to see him in that top 10. Like I think I said in my boys, I want to see him crack the top 5. I think that's possible. Maybe take down his first major. So yeah, really encouraging win, and just very solid.
And the hometown win. You know, Long Beach, California native, about an hour away, I think they said.
Went to UCLA.
Yeah, you really have to see this one.
Yeah, you got to give it up to the guy. This is a strong field. These guys like Cantlay, who are always around the top of the leaderboard. This was part of my gripe about his finish at the Shriners is I think guys like this need to get the wins because they're not looking for, I loved Rahm and JT today. They were both pissed that they got second. It's not like some guys it's like, I finished second. That's a great finish. They were both choked. They're there to win. And Cantlay, I think he's in that category. He's that good, and that's what he should be. That should be his goal. So it's nice to see guys like that. I don't think he's won since the Memorial. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's been a little bit.
I think that
the Memorial last year. You like to see these guys get wins under their belt and kind of keep the momentum rolling. Otherwise, it can a year or two can go by without a win, and
and then it starts to I need a win. It's been too long.
Exactly.
The one thing I was going to say though about Rahm, his interview afterwards that I loved is they were I forget what they were talking about. Maybe the putt on 18 when he had a chance, and he was like, you could go back to there. You could go back to the first hole of my tournament on number 10 when I had a 3-foot putt for birdie and I missed it. And for them, the reality is they Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they know any of those any loose swing, any missed putt could be the difference for them winning and losing. And I just love that's how their mentality that I know on Thursday that might cost me the win.
Yeah, and that's crazy to think about.
And that's the top guys are like that, but every guy on tour is like that because we've talked about it before with Mackenzie Hughes making the Tour Championship. It's like any finish that wasn't quite as good as it was wouldn't have got him those FedEx Cup points to put him in that position so that a 10th place finisher, whatever it was, gave him enough points to get into the Tour Champ. Every stroke all year counts.
Yeah, you look at Lanto Griffin today, and they're just talking about, and it was not a good round. He was even. He was 72 on the day, but you could bet your ass he was grinding for every stroke to be as high on that leaderboard as he can be because he was tied for 11th, and that's a pretty darn good finish for him. So good on him. Seeing him up there again after last week. It's two in a row where he's right around the top 10. Yeah. Unfortunately, both times Sunday, he left some out there on Sunday, but still nice to see him playing that well.
Speaking of that, another guy that was right around the top of the leaderboard last week was Russell Henley. He was up there again. Another impressive performance. I think he played quite poorly one of the days on Thursday or Friday, but shot a really nice round yesterday. He had a really
low round yesterday. He was 63 yesterday.
And then followed it up, and I think he ended up being top 5, didn't he?
Yeah,
I want to say he was fourth.
He was fourth, tied for fourth.
Tied fourth, yeah. So good on him to follow that up back to back. That's another great finish. Anybody else you guys want to talk to? We got a few guys.
Corey Connors, Canadian. There's a little shout out there. He had a great day today.
I went away from my boy Mackenzie Hughes. I was just giving him a break from the pressure of the pod. I wanted to pick a different top Canadian, so I picked Corey Connors, ball striking wizard.
Sure.
Finished nice and high for me this week. It's nice to see him kind of rounding back into form. He had a few tournaments there where he didn't play as well. But he's, like I say, his ball striking is up there with the best of them. So
Connors, we're talking about.
Connors, yeah.
Did you see? And like, his ball striking is up there with the best of them, and his putting is just shaky. There's a few times they cut to him today. He had like I want to say like a 3-footer, and he missed it, and the broadcaster was just like, "Yeah, he didn't put a great stroke on that one." It's like, yeah, that's.
He's one of those guys where you'll have a par 5 and you see on like the PGA Tour app and he's 15 feet away for eagle. You're like, please just make birdie. Like, don't 3-putt it. Just get at least a birdie.
I know those. It's tough. Those guys that you're really pulling for when you see them in there, and you're just like, you're just thinking worst case scenario all the time. It's not like It's like when you're cheering against somebody and you see them with a 15-foot eagle putt. You're like, he's gonna make it. And when it's your guy, you're like, just make a birdie.
A guy at T4, Bubba Watson, was in my stock up last week on the podcast. But then I ended up fading him this week, so I kind of feel conflicted with that.
Well, his stock just shot up so high. They were like, whoa, everybody out there, pump the brakes.
Well, I was on him as a sleeper a week ago, and then he was my stock up. I was kind of pumping his tires, and then everybody was talking about him. Like, whoa, guys, let's slow down a little bit here.
He was also in that tied for 4th group, but the thing that stood out to me, apparently his caddy is just saying he's playing great golf. So heading into a course here in a few weeks, a Bubba track where we know he has history. I'd love to see him carry that form through.
Yeah. Oh, I sure wouldn't.
Well, I don't mean to win it. I just mean to have the drama of Bubba involved.
Yeah. Another guy up at the top of the leaderboard there I wanted to mention was Joel Damon. He, always a fan favorite. I don't know, Craig, you were mentioning the Gladiator moment.
Yeah, so on, I forget what hole it is, but there's a bunch of houses out there where basically it sounds like there's parties going on, COVID or not.
Sorry, not houses, but like $1 million mansions.
Yes.
I mean, those are some nice properties.
There's some nice places out there, yeah. But it seems like a few of them were pretty rowdy too, and so Damon makes like a 10 or 15 footer for birdie on a green that's right beside one of them, and he just goes, "Are you not entertained?" Like the classic Gladiator moment. It was great. Like it's one of those.
That's great. Yeah.
He's an entertainer. He's not just a golfer.
For sure. So I follow him on Instagram. I also follow Bryson DeChambeau. So anybody who didn't see it, Bryson DeChambeau came out with a video, a promotion. Is it a promotional video promoting the Bryson brand?
Well, it's his brand, man. He says it's all about the brand.
Yeah, it's the silhouette of the little hat he wears, the little Puma hat. Yeah. Anyways, Bryson's was. I'm sorry, obnoxious of him getting off a private plane, walking it past his protein drinks, getting into a Bentley, and then just cruising in the car, and it kind of fades away to the sky and then says chasing 215 miles per hour or something like that.
It's just like, it's really high production quality with no self-awareness. That's what it screams to me,
That's a great way to put it. No self-awareness at all.
So I saw this, I was like, oh my God. And then Joel David comes out with one. I think it was yesterday, where he says chasing 170, and it shows him slowly warming up on the range, loosening up,
doing some stretches
with a weighted club, doing some exercise with a little ab roller. He's like, at one point, he's like
leg raises. And
I just thought it was he has a TrackMan where he has 166 like circled on it and highlighted. It was just mint. I was howling about it.
Yeah.
The guy is hilarious. He's one of the best follows. I think he's one of the best characters on tour, and I get a kick out of him all the time. I'm always happy to see him up there too, because I've heard him talk about how he loves cashing these big checks. So
this will be a new addition for the house, or a new kitchen or something.
Yeah, so I like seeing him up there for sure.
Yeah.
Anybody else you guys want to talk about? Should we touch on it at all? The Tiger and Phil matchup today,
I was a little bit annoyed. Like, yes, it's great to see Tiger and Phil playing together. I just am so annoyed that how much attention they let that take over when, they're both in 70th place in a tournament out of 77 or something. like I get it. If Tiger is anywhere near the top 10, he's going to attract all the cameras. And same with Phil these days, you know. I don't know why we have them as a feature group. I don't know why.
Craig,
like, I want to know what's going on in the tournament. I don't want to watch like the Tiger and Phil play around together hour, you know?
Fair enough, but you got to understand that there was 127 combined wins in that group. PGA Tour wins. That's
and if you had Jack Nicklaus and Gary Player, they'd have a lot of wins too, but I don't want to watch them play golf when a PGA tournament.
Yeah, well, people do. Why do you think they take a ceremonial tee shot every time at the Masters? They can't get around the whole course anymore.
But that's what I mean. Like, I get it. I'd be totally fine with it if it's Thursday or Friday. But when it's Sunday and, like, you could have a feature group of people who might charge and be relevant this week, like, I think that's when you need to get away from it. But I think they just saw Tiger and Phil were matched up together and they couldn't resist, you know?
So let me pose a question to you. Can you remember a time when Tiger was playing in a tournament when he wasn't in a feature group?
Well,
no. I mean, he's gonna be in a feature group. It just happened that Mickelson was also in the same group as him today. But every time Tiger plays, he's gonna be one of the feature groups.
In these no cut tournaments, that's when it just becomes a problem. That like, I mean, maybe it's also partially because in Canada here we get until, you know, the leaders are in the back nine by the time we get regular broadcasts. So like we don't have coverage of anything until.
I'm sorry, is that different?
I don't know if it's different in the States or not, but really, so like, sweet, I get to watch Tiger and Phil shoot their, you know, whatever they shoot, but it's not relevant to the tournament. Like
the feature group that is going to be on Golf TV or PGA Tour Live is going to be a group that's out early. That's kind of what they do. And so they pick a marquee player and then, you know, whoever's playing with them kind of gets highlighted. And today the other one for a while was McIlroy, Hubbard.
Well, they had McIlroy like they typically have two featured groups. And so they had Rory's group and then but then usually the other group is someone from the upper half of the tournament. It's just...
Anyways, my point was that the other group, it's not like they were relevant for the tournament either. You know, like if you like Rory, sure, you want to watch the other group, but he wasn't
but still, like, I'd rather see, you know, Xander go out there and post a -7 or like Daniel Burt, like these people who, you know, like maybe this is where it just seems so backwards to me that like... if you want to grow the brand of the PGA, don't just like point the camera at the people who were relevant over the last 20 years. Like, try to find the people who are relevant now going forward. And I think other sports do a lot better job of that than the PGA does.
I agree. And the PGA has chosen guys that are their guys, and they pretty much, you know, they always feature those guys. Guys like Berger gets no love. Like, I kind of stopped putting money on Berger because I never got to see how he was playing and like see how it would turn
but you'll
out.
Still see Cooch all the time. You'll still see.
No. Yeah.
You'll still see.
Not so much the last couple of years, but
you know what I mean? Also, like, when they flipped over to Golf Channel, like the regular broadcast, they were still cutting to Phil and Tiger. It wasn't just a
it's because they have the crew with them. They have the camera crew with them, so they only have so much equipment there.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you know, I think we've talked enough about that. Let's move on. I hear what you guys are saying though. As a Tiger homer though, I kind of like it still too. So I'm not going to complain. Let's quickly. Do you guys want to talk about anybody else in the field this week before we go to our picks recap?
No, let's go. Let's get going.
Yeah, let's do it.
Picks recap. So, you know, I've kind of thought about this a little bit, and I'd just like to. I hope all of our listeners and viewers realize now that our fades might as well be winner picks, and our winner picks fades. Like, it doesn't really seem to matter that much. This week we nailed it with the fades. If you're talking about trying to fly close to the sun, I mean, Craig was giving me flack last time for picking a guy that wasn't high enough in the pre-tournament line. So basically, if they're decided to go with the favorite of the tournament and fade wrong this week.
It was an aggressive fade. I like it. To me, that's a prime fade. You faded the guy that was the favorite, and he finished second.
You nailed it.
Adam didn't quite do as well with that. He got Bubba tied for fourth, and Craig faded Finau, who just finished outside the top 10. So
yeah, I think we should be fading a top 10 guy. So
Absolutely. I completely agree.
Well, then we nailed it.
We nailed it. Yeah, totally.
Not a top 10 finisher, but a top 10 entering the tournament.
So our winner picks this week, Adam had Webb, Craig had Hatton, I had Hatton. Not anything to write home about really. Hatton, he was doing really well early, but faded pretty hard on the weekend.
So I was telling Adam on, I think it was Wednesday when we do our Twitch show, that I actually probably would have picked JT to win, except I didn't have time to I was giving you guys my picks on Wednesday and I was like, Hatton, one and done. Like I care more about getting my one and done pick because that's the one that I feel like we're tracking over the course of the year. And so I was like, oh yeah, win and one and done. But good thing JT didn't win or else I would have had some serious FOMO there.
Oh yeah.
The one and done is a pressure pick. That's for sure.
I'm just so choked. So yeah, just recap them here.
One and done. Adam had Tiger, who finished T72 in a no-cut event. The last 2 weeks, Adam, I believe your finishers have been T69 and T72. So I think you've added another 13,000 here.
So I guess my question is, I picked Tiger because I know he's going to get 4 rounds of golf. Are you guys saving Tiger for a certain time?
I'm saving Tiger.
I don't know if I will play Tiger.
You know what?
I think that's a better response.
So if you think about it, what tournaments does Tiger play in? I feel
in reality, let me tell you my rationale here. You guys know it's like I can never bet on the Vikings. All right, it's too close to my heart. I can't putting that kind of pressure on someone I cheer so hard for, anyways, to also deliver something else it's too much. I can't.
You can't pick him for the Masters, man.
Yeah,
well, I would take him to Augusta, Kev. It just makes sense.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not ruling it out yet. I'm gonna get a feel going into the week, and we'll see what happens. Luckily, I got two Masters this year to potentially play him. So I'll see what his form's like. We'll see. Maybe with Tiger, maybe we'll see him at the Houston Open. He's talking about maybe.
Okay, can we move on from Tiger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up.
Adam had him in the one and done. Craig had Hatton, who finished T28, and I had Webb Simpson, who finished T17. So.
Can I just for 1 second moan about my one and done luck? Hatton came out and was tied for second after the first day, and basically went backwards the rest of the weekend. It just is. I feel like I'm nailing these picks, and it's just so frustrating.
Craig, in the whatever we have 8 events so far, you have one top 20, and it's from a guy that's not even a PGA Tour member.
Yeah, but I was counting. I was like, how much does, after the first day, I was like, how much does first place get here? I definitely will be in first by the end of this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I also have bad luck. Webb pretty much destroyed the hole on 18 and it didn't go in, so he finished, a slot back of where he should have, really. But anyways, I'll move on. So yeah, the updated standings. Craig has accumulated about a 4th place finish on tour with 300,000 so far.
Yeah.
Adam, same thing, and I am at 1.4 million now. So
still just one win, man. Still just one win.
Man, the crown is heavy up here. All right, I need you guys to come up here so I stop having so much pressure every Wednesday when I'm trying to get my picks ready.
Oh my god!
No, I'm loving this. The higher the hill, the greater the fall.
That's what I'm feeling right now. All right, I need you guys to start climbing that hill. Craig, why don't you give us your stock up and stock down after this week?
Okay, so stock up. We touched on him briefly, but Russell Henley, he played well last week. He played well this week. Finished tied for 4th, 19 under. I was looking through his numbers a bit, but he was ranked 222nd at the start of 2020. He has
in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
Since the COVID restart, he's played 12 tournaments. He's got 5 top 10s.
Wow.
You'd have to go back, prior to the COVID break, you'd have to go back, I think, to the start of 2018 to find his previous 5 top 10s. So really just playing great in these last few months and really paying attention to it now. He's now up to 62nd in the world. But the other thing about him, he lost over a stroke around putting this week, and his ball striking is just off the charts. I was talking about this with Adam when we were doing a DFS show, that we always talk about Justin Thomas and his approach play, because Justin Thomas is typically we think of as the best in the world when it comes to approach, strokes gains approach. But Russell Henley is outgaining him over the past 12 months, and the past 6 months, and the past 3 months. At first I thought it was just like, I looked at like the past month and it was like, oh, Henley's like at the top. And then I kept like extending the period backwards. And he's just playing great. Like his ball striking is off the charts right now. So yeah, just I really wanted to note that and point that one out.
So he led the tournament in strokes gained tee to green. He was like 0.8 better than the next person, who was Jon Rahm. Like that's unbelievable.
Wow. And I gotta ask though, is
per round?
So is JT the the benchmark for approach, strokes gained approach? I don't pour over the numbers as much as you guys do, but I think of JT's game as so solid all around that I don't necessarily think of him as the.
So JT, like yes, him and Morikawa were.
I was gonna say Morikawa, who comes to mind for me. So
they were neck and neck, but JT had him by a bit for the 2019-2020 season.
Okay.
But JT just typically so the thing that's a little bit different with JT compared to the other top guys is that usually their strokes gained off the tee, like all of the other top guys, Rahm, DJ, Rory, I think even Morikawa, JT actually gains less off the tee. I mean, some of those are obvious, but I'm pretty sure he was less than Morikawa even, which surprises me. But I think it's just because he has such a weakness with spraying it. And but anyways, enough about JT.
With Russell Henley, I'm taking a quick look here. I don't think he has any major exemptions coming up, so it's impressive. I just kind of hope he gets like whatever he needs to do to get into these big tournaments.
Yeah.
Well, moving up the world rankings and the FedEx Cup rankings helps too.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah. So speaking of strokes gained approach.
My stock down, Colin Morikawa. He finished tied for 50th this week in a field of 77 people. And to me, he's just been very, very low-key bad since the PGA Championship.
Wow.
His best finish since then is a tied for 7th, but that was at the Tour Championship where we only have 30 people. He has since the PGA Championship. I mean, the big hit on Morikawa has been that his putter has been bad, and it seemed like, okay, he won a major and he was not expected to have won a major by now. So people kind of just moved on from the fact that he is has been a bad putter. Right. He is so we've got 7 tournaments since the PGA Championship. He is losing over half a stroke per round since in those 7 tournaments. Every tournament with a cut since then, he's missed the cut. The only time he's had finishes have been tournaments where we have, no cut tournaments. But
which is crazy because when he started his career, he was kind of on that
the no cut streak.
The Tiger threatening Tigers record, right?
Yeah,
it was like 20 some events.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, like I love Colin Morikawa. I love his game. I think long term, but to me it's just he's a stock down right now because I don't know. I think his putting is in a bad spot and he needs to kind of get a reset there.
Yeah.
Adam, who do you have moving up and moving down this week?
Yeah, so moving up, my stock up is Rory Mcilroy. I feel like we haven't talked about him much on the podcast, but he had a kind of low-key good week. First off, did we talk about the hoodie yet?
No, we haven't talked about the hoodie or the club snap.
Or the club. So Sunday, he pulled out the hoodie.
He planted his flag in the whole hoodie debate.
So Haddon, I think, is a big Adidas guy, right? So Rory came out with a Nike one. So maybe there's like Nike was like, hey man, we got to get you wearing a hoodie out here.
So what do you guys think? Who wore it best?
Hatton.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
He's just he kind of looks more like a boxer.
Did you guys watch the feature coverage of Rory at all?
Yeah,
There's a few times he was like adjusting it, like he wasn't super comfortable.
I was gonna say Hatton seems more like a natural hoodie guy, whereas Rory, I don't know. Is he a natural hoodie guy?
Well, he might be, but it came out of the box that Nike sent it to him in, and it has not been like, like when it's like stiff still, like you get a good quality hoodie and the hood's still like stiff and awkward. It seemed like that was a little bit the case.
Yeah, so was it Thursday? His approach on 18, he kind of put his iron in the ground and then kind of just gave it a little extra bit and snapped it. He had a rough start to his tournament, but yeah. Snapped his club on 18. But so starting to look good with Rory. He made 29 birdies on the week. That was most in the tournament.
Wow.
That's
most he's ever made.
Most he's ever made and most in the tournament. That's about 7.25 a day. Or that's exactly 7.25 a day. Round 3. So, I mean, he had a rough start, but he cleaned it up. Round 3, he was plus 4.43 strokes tee to green. Round 4, he was plus 3.32 strokes tee to green. Yeah, I think he's just, and then we kind of know his whole Masters story, so I really like that form leading in for him.
Yeah, he broke a club and he was minus 16 after he broke the club, so I think he just needs to, sometimes you just need to, he's too buttoned up all the time these days. He just needs to sometimes let it go and then move on and make birdies.
Yeah.
So are you teasing a Masters pick there, Adam, or do you really like his form more than the competition, or do you just like that he's getting back into form for him?
Actually, besides Spieth, you guys know I've been talking about Spieth for the Masters for a long time now on the pod.
We need to figure out what our Garcia Spieth stakes are going to be.
I think we talked about a case of local beer or something.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. But the other thing I was going to say, just on that note, real quick, apparently Garcia's like going to play a tennis tournament before the Masters.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Why? I'll do more research and I'll let you know.
He's gonna roll an ankle or something. Why is he doing that?
But sorry, back to Rory. I was thinking about. So I've been hyping Rory for a couple weeks, for 10 years now. Just that he's coming back into form, and what Cantlay said after winning, that he felt like he had been playing well and he kind of had just had that one round a week that was holding him back. To me, that's a little bit where Rory is that we're seeing really good play from him, but like there's always an 18 holes or 9 holes, or even within a round there's a few holes where he gets sloppy.
Holes. Yeah, exactly. And I mentioned it on the pod last week, and that's been costing him being in contention. But when you're making 29 birdies in a week, like that's you should be in contention.
Yeah. I just hope people get a little bit sleepy on him, and I think it's the right time to get on Rory right now, because I think he's gonna do something big here.
What's that line sitting at right now?
Maybe we'll see him close out the Slam in a few weeks.
Exactly.
I'd love to see it. Yeah, me too. Okay, who do you have moving down there, Adam?
Okay, moving down, I got Tommy Fleetwood. I think I said in one of our shows, Craig, I called him like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. But I'm going to change it up. I'm actually going with the tale of two Tommies. It's a play, okay? We're going the tale of two Tommies. So his last 3 starts, we know he goes back and forth between the PGA, the European Tour. But his last 3 starts in Europe, he was T13, second, and T3. His last 3 starts in North America were T57, T59, and miscut. And these are like spliced in within each other. They're not like, there's not different sections.
Now, were these good fields? Because I think the Euro Tour has very good fields, but they also have some tournaments that, I feel like Tommy Fleetwood can almost walk into a top 10 just based on the quality of golfer he is,
Yeah, we had the BMW PGA Championship, which Hatton won. That was where he's 13th. The Scottish Open, he was second, and I think
lost in a playoff.
Portugal Masters, T3.
So not super weak events or anything.
No, it's not. The Italian Open, I think, was a weaker event. It's not like he's going over there and losing in the playoff, right? It's my stock down. I still don't know what's going on with him with his PGA play right now. His European, it really seems completely 2 different Tommies.
Tale of two Tommies.
The tale of two Tommies.
What's going on, Tommy? He's one of these guys that tends to show up sometimes. Again, maybe every second one in the majors. So maybe he's just trying to work on some shots and get ready for Augusta.
Maybe I'm saving him for the British, for the Open Championship, for the one and done. Pencil that one in.
Maybe. I don't know about that.
But yeah, maybe I'll tell you that to mess with you.
Oh, the mind games have begun. All right, so for my stock up this week, I'm going to go with Jon Rahm. I faded him this week. It was mostly out of spite, because I was challenged that I wasn't fading somebody that was high enough, so I
you were fading people that should be sleepers.
But truthfully, Rahm, over the past, so since the was it the BMW he won over DJ? So since then, he's kind of had some mediocre play. He hasn't done much. I think he's been kind of T20 something, T30 something in a couple events. I just kind of, the reason I faded him too is he hadn't really done anything as of late to show that his game was on super tight. It
seemed
form.
like, he won the Memorial and then he won the BMW, and it seemed like he was in a great spot, and then it's been middling.
Yeah, it seemed like he could win any tournament.
I think it's kind of hilarious that he's your stock up. He also hasn't got worse than top 25 in the past half year.
He's
a different standard of player. Yeah,
all relative, right?
And whatever is, the Tour Championship 6th. That's not a great finish. I guess it is, but
he probably started around there too.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the ones where it's what he did that week. But anyways,
so what I'm saying is it's all relative. For him, I think it's good to see him, get another high finish challenge for the win. Yeah. That putt could have dropped on 18 and he could have won in a playoff, right? So heading into Augusta, a tournament he is, his game is perfect for, really. He should be somebody who can contend there. It's good to see that his game is where it needs to be going into that. And yeah, he just impressed me this week. He's my stock up. Is somebody had kind of, he was a bit more on the back burner than he probably should have been in my mind. And he played great. Other than one of the best
drivers when he is in contention too. They said that, and I thought that was so true. I can't think of a time where he's sprayed. I think of JT spraying him. I think of even Tiger back in the day. He would spray it, and then he would do some ridiculous recovery shot. But Jon Rahm, just when he is in contention, he's just so rock solid off the tee.
So, but didn't you love it today on 18 where both JT had to eagle it, he had to hole out, and Rahm needed to birdie. They were literally on the middle stripe of the fairway. In the bottleneck. They could not. They both just ripped their drives for me. That's the competitor in those guys.
Yeah.
So my stock down this week is Phil the Thrill. Phil Mickelson, Tale of Two Tommies, you say maybe it's a Tale of Two Tours for Phil.
Oh, I like it.
He's on the Champions Tour. He's winning everything. He's throwing bombs out there. On the PGA Tour, he's finishing in the back of the pack. His style of play hasn't translated to success on the PGA Tour like it has on the Champions Tour. So, I don't know. He's entertaining to watch. I don't know that he has the game on the PGA Tour anymore. I wouldn't be shocked if he came out of nowhere and put a week together and, won another tournament maybe at some point. But I kind of think he's fallen out of the conversation for some of these big events with these, top players in the world. I don't think
so. So that's what I was going to say. He likes to play in a lot of those lesser tournaments for a bunch of reasons. I think he loves, especially once we have crowds back, I think he loves to do that and travel to different parts of the country and play in events that don't necessarily have the strongest field. So I can't really, it's hard to see him winning in a strong field, but I think there is that chance that he catches lightning in a bottle one of those weeks that it's a lesser tournament, and I could see him taking one of those down. But yeah, he's really...
I also saw after his last win on the senior tour where he was talking about how nice it was that they didn't set the courses up to to really wear these guys out. Like he's like, yeah, we played 36 today, but we were in a car, like I'm still feeling pretty good. And they're a little bit maybe not softer on those guys, but they're
totally
accommodating.
Are softer on them.
But they're accommodating to the fact that they're in their 50s and beyond, right? Yeah. Whereas on the PGA Tour, it's like, it's a battle of the titans. It's these guys are supposed to be in their prime, and it's. But
if you set up the courses the same way, like it would be silly for the top the top 25, 30-year-old players.
Exactly. So anyway, I think Phil is going to be looking for. He's going to pick and choose, and he's going to look for courses that work with his style of play moving forward on the PGA Tour. And in that sense, he may be able to find another winner too. But really, I think maybe, his time has come.
I also feel like he's going to be one of these guys that we're going to see him maybe like in one of the final pairings of a major in 7 years or something. Like, is Phil going to pull off this magic moment and then ultimately disappoint?
And he could, like, he could pull like a Tom Watson or something.
That's who I was thinking about. He's going to be around and we're like, Phil's really going to make something special here, and then like, oh no, it's Phil going to be Phil.
No, I think the only way we see Phil in a major on Sunday is if he's in the broadcast booth. I actually would love to see. I'd love to see him go full Romo and like I think. So if you think about just personality wise too, I mean, Phil does it because he loves golf, but Phil also just loves attention. So it's not about the money necessarily. Like he's going to get paid if he does decide to go to become a broadcaster, but he just wants to be in a part of the show, and that's how he can continue to be part of the show.
That's a great take, actually.
That is a good take.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's my stock down this week. But if when we do our Champions Tour podcast, he might be my stock up. Stay tuned. So before we move on, is there anything else from this week you guys want to talk about?
The only thing for me, I don't want to go on a rant here, but the fact that we're getting Golf Channel coverage when the leaders are kind of making the turn here on Sunday. I mean, yes, we need to showcase tours from all over the world, and the LPGA and the Champions and European Tour, and it's hard to fit that schedule in. But we don't need an hour of pregame when the leaders are already on the course. Let's just get into it. We can talk about it while they're playing. That's my own. I was just frustrated. I mean, Golf TV was down for a lot of the international customers.
Yeah, Golf TV fell on its face on Thursday. It's anytime they have Tiger playing, so they, how they always have Tiger in the afternoon on Friday, so they have him out early on Thursdays. And Golf TV, which is the International PGA Tour Live, essentially every time Tiger plays, they're just overwhelmed and it's totally inaccessible. And I don't know how they have not realized this and figured out a technical solution to it. But
why are they even bothering to show that guy? I mean, geez, it's like, who wants to watch him?
Okay.
Oh, it's overwhelmed with so many people. Oh, okay.
On Sunday.
No.
I don't I don't want to rag on the coverage too much, but just give us more. Let's show us.
Yeah.
Just put them on.
Yeah. It is frustrating when all you can do early on is just follow these guys on ShotLink and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just wanted to quickly mention Allie Mcdonald won her first LPGA Tour event, the Drive On Championship. It was her 28th birthday today, and she was the leader going into today, and she fired a final round 69 to win by one shot over Danielle Kang, who's a bit of a menace on the LPGA Tour. So she did well to hold her off. And then, in the golf world, it was a bit of a quiet week. So the only other thing I wanted to say is, we're officially 3 weekends away from the Masters. That the ZOZO was the last time we'll see some of these guys play. I think we have the Bermuda Championship next week and the Houston Open the week prior to the Masters. So you guys got any quick thoughts on who you think maybe needs another tune-up? If guys you think that are probably done until the Masters?
Tiger teased the idea that he would potentially play Houston if I don't know if it was, depending on how this week went, how he felt with competitive reps. So I think that's something to keep an eye on, is whether he does plan to play Houston. Other than that, like, I think most of the real top guys, I don't think we'll see them. I think they'll go into their pre-major preparation, and I'm so excited for the Masters.
I'm so excited. It's like, I know it's only been an extra 6 months or whatever from when it's supposed to be, but it feels like it's been a decade since the Masters has happened.
The interesting thing with Bermuda and Houston is they're the first tournaments allowing fans back since the COVID kind of restart. So I think if people are being extra cautious, like, you never know what's going to happen when you allow fans. Who knows what's going to happen, right? So if you don't want to risk it, I mean, we've seen these top players, Finau, DJ, Scheffler,
Adam Scott this week.
Mm-hmm. Adam Scott, I forgot about him. Yeah. So if you want to be completely risk-free and you have your spot, I wouldn't be surprised if quite a few people don't play for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think we should just all get on our private jets and then go get in the Bentley and head home.
With a production crew around
With
us.
a production crew.
No kidding.
So yeah, we mentioned it. The next upcoming tournament this week, we have the Bermuda Championship, Port Royal Golf and Country in Southampton, Bermuda. Par 71 short, 6,828
they've
yards.
run this one, I think, too.
So this is kind of a, it's not an opposite field event, but it is one of the sort of softer field events, which I'm kind of looking forward to. There's a few guys, Craig, your boy, Will Zalatoris.
It could be a big one.
Is looking for, that PGA Tour membership if he gets enough points, right?
Well, if he makes the cut, because
I think if he makes
last
the cut,
time he had to be tied. I forget what the place was, tied for 6th maybe with one other person, and there was 2 people or something. So he's like a stone's throw away from getting his special temporary membership. Yeah.
Justin Suh is in the field. I think he has a chance to do that as well if he has a high enough finish.
No, I don't know if he gets a very, very high finish, but really for him, he's in here without using a sponsor's exemption because he top 10'd, and so for in that position, like, it's really, you just want to try to string them along, because you get, I forget if it's 7 or 8 sponsors exemptions, during which time you need to try to get that certain number of points, and so if he can get some points off of the back of a top 10, then that's exactly how you want to do it.
Yeah. I know, I listen to Max Homa and Shane Bacon's podcast, and he's going to be playing Bermuda this week. I'm excited to see how...
Homa is?
Homa is, yeah.
Nice.
I'm excited to see.
Shane Bacon was for a second. I'm like, wow. Did he Monday qualify?
I was going to say, he's got game from what I have heard, but no, I don't think he's in the field. But yeah, I'm excited to see Homa in action again, and hopefully he can put together. He's heading into his first Masters in a few weeks here, so hasn't been playing great since the restart. It'd be nice to see him have a good finish. Brendan Todd won last year. Do you know, is he in the field?
He is, because I wasn't expecting to see his name there, and I saw he was playing.
Yeah.
I was scrolling through the field, and I saw, I don't know if you guys noticed this, 2 Funks. So we had Fred Funk playing and his son Taylor Funk.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think they're both sponsor exemptions. I don't know how they got in, but that's kind of a cool story.
Maybe they're Bermuda locals or something.
I don't know, yeah.
That is cool. Yeah, so what do you guys got going on this week?
I got a lot of dentist appointments, and I'm not very happy about it. So any golf, Bermuda golf, ZOZO Cup golf is good because I got crowns and other surgeries. It's not fun.
But aside from that, we'll be putting out a preview, Bermuda Championship preview on YouTube. And then we'll also be putting out a European tour. I'm assuming there's an event. I haven't looked at the schedule yet over there.
We'll have to take a look, yeah.
But those will be coming probably on Tuesday, and then Wednesday evening, as always, we'll be doing our live Twitch show where you can come and ask us questions, and we'll chat. We'll preview the tournament. We'll chat about everything from a DFS angle, and then we'll get into next week.
Right on. Well, Adam, I'm sorry to hear you've got such a busy week there, but it's good to see that you've already got the Halloween costume sorted out there with your Adam Hadwin look you got going on there.
Hey, thanks, man.
You better work on the swing a little bit, though. Nobody's gonna buy it.
No one's gonna buy it.
Our podcast, our podcast is on YouTube if you want to check out my costume.
Right on. Well, check out all our content at grandstandgolf.com, and thank you very much for listening. Please subscribe, rate, review our podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, and we look forward to talking more golf with you in the future. Take care, everyone.
See you guys next time.